So it's important to recognize what are the parts of the SAT that are most important to help you improve that score. Item one is understanding what is in the algebra component of the test. So that includes linear equations, linear inequalities, systems of equations, linear functions, and function foundations. So let's take a look at each of these 5 parts of the algebra category within the SAT. So with linear equations, you're often solving a one variable equation. These can go from two-step equations up to more complex fractions, and often they may ask you to solve a secondary component to this problem. For example, here we have 3x times the quantity x minus 5 plus 2 equals 8. They don't want to know the value of x, they want to know the value of x minus 5. And there's 2 ways you can go about doing this. Actually, there's 3. One way is we can actually solve this problem by distributing and say that this is 3x minus 15 plus 2 equals 8, and say that this is 3x minus 13 equals 8, 3x equals 21, so x equals 7. And I can guarantee you x equals 7 will be one of your options on the multiple choice, but we want x minus 5. And x minus 5 is 7 minus 5 equals 2. That's one way to do it, and you can see how long that took to do. The other thing I could recognize is they're really saying 3 times this blank plus 2 equals 8. And so we can say, well, 3 times what plus 2 equals 8? Well, that would be 3 times 2 plus 2 equals 8. What does that mean? That means that x minus 5 has to equal 2. And that's the quantity they actually want. Much faster to make that recognition. There is one third way we could do this, which is to actually use Desmos. So if I go into Desmos here and do 3 times the quantity x minus 5 plus 2 equals 8, and then I go and look at that, I can say, okay, where is it crossing? It's crossing right there at 7. So I can now go 7 minus 5 equals 2. Much faster to do it in Desmos than it was to solve it by hand. So you got to think about with your linear equations, can I do it quickly? Or should I use something like Desmos to help me do it more efficiently? Now, another type of problem is our linear inequalities. And often you may have to graph a linear inequality, or you may have a compound inequality, or you may be asked to actually construct the actual inequality itself. And we got to look for keywords to help us with that. Here, they're asking us to actually construct the linear inequality. Now, keyword here, maximum value of r. These two pieces together, the maximum value of r, right there, I need to recognize. I may see the minimum value or the maximum value. And what that's telling us is what type of inequality are we setting up. If I'm maximum, that means that whatever I have, it can't be bigger than that value. In other words, it has to be less than or equal to. So right there, I get my less than or equal to. Now I'm going to create the expression on the other side. And that gives me the 7 greater than the product of 4 and a number p. 7 greater than, more than, that actually means that I'm going to be adding. And then the product of 4 and a number p is telling me to multiply those two numbers. And I have to be careful because this greater than is not talking about the inequality, it's talking about the sum of 7 and 4p. So make sure you're carefully paying attention to what are those pieces. Again, that first part, the maximum value of, the minimum value of, that's telling you the inequality for which you're setting up. So systems of equations are a third type of problem we may see. This can be linear or nonlinear systems. Often you're given typically one easy equation, and then you may either have to find the sum of the two values or find the missing other value. In this problem, we could do substitution pretty quickly here because we can say that since 6x equals negative 24, we know x equals negative 4. Now we can take our value of negative 4 and do a direct substitution into this problem. Now, you may ask, well, why would they give us this relatively easy problem here? And a lot of it is because we have to pay attention to all of these negative signs as we solve the problem. We've got 7 times negative 4. Then we've got this negative 28 that we're actually going to add to both sides. And then we have this negative 3 that we have to pay attention to give us a negative 10 for our solution. So it's very easy for any of those negatives to make an error. So in that case, when you see a system, I often recommend instead of trying to solve it, go and use Desmos. This is where the power of Desmos can be very helpful. So let me pull it up right here. If I do 6x equals negative 24, and then I do 7x minus 3y equals 2, I'm looking for where do these two lines cross. And they cross here at negative 4 and negative 10. And I'll look and what did I find by hand? Negative 4, negative 10. Well, look, I did that in 5 seconds. How much quicker and how much more time can you use on the harder problems if you know how to use Desmos? And our fourth type of problem are linear functions. Here we're actually given, it is linear, it looks like a linear equation, but we're using function notation in this point, where it's f of x instead of y equals. And when we do this, we're often talking about a real world situation. Here, the function f represents the total cost. So if we think about it from a graphing standpoint, we're saying that y represents the total cost in dollars, and x is the miles driven by the taxi. And they want to know how many miles did the taxi travel if the total cost was $24. So in other words, they're telling us that f of x equals 24. And what we want to then say is 24 equals 6 plus 1 and 2/10 x. That's what this problem is actually having me solve here. Now, I can solve that by hand, subtract the 6 from both sides, and I'll get 18 equals 1 and 2/10 x. And then I divide both sides by the 1 and 2/10 and get that x is 15. However, dealing with that decimal sometimes can get people a little bit concerned. So let's go to our Desmos graphing. If I enter that exact same equation, if I do 24 equals 6 plus 1 and 2/10 x, and I solve that problem, and you can say, okay, I don't see anything. Why? Well, I need to zoom out. And now I can see where is it crossing? It crosses at 15. Again, a problem that I can do in 5 seconds if I know how to use Desmos. The fifth concept we see in the algebra category is the function foundations. Here we're often evaluating linear functions for a given x. In this case, we're going to take negative 4 and substitute it into the equation for every x and evaluate that function. So if we do this by hand, we have negative 8 times 3 minus 2 times the quantity negative 4 plus 7. We need to do our multiplication inside those parentheses first and pay attention to our negatives. Negative times a negative gives me a positive 8. Now I have my parentheses addition, so I'm going to do 3 plus 8 is 11. Now I have multiplication, that's negative 88 plus 7 to get me to negative 81. So I can say that f of negative 4 equals negative 81. Now there's a lot of negatives there, and I may make a very simple mistake, and I can guarantee that multiple choice options will have all those potential errors you could do with the negatives. So you want to make sure to avoid that. We can use Desmos, and we can do Desmos probably quicker than what I just solved by hand. If I enter my equation exactly as it appears there, negative 8, 3 minus 2x, close my parentheses, plus 7, then I go to my second line and I type in f of negative 4, it outputs the exact value because it's recognized as an ordered pair where here is my x and here's the corresponding y on this linear function. Much faster, and it helps me avoid any common mistakes.